Hi friends! In this video I'm going to talk about 2 moments, 1 pillar, 3 steps and 1 principle that allowed me to overcome my social anxiety and depression without therapy or medication. Let's start with the 2 moments. But before, I have to give you a little of the background so you know what was actually happening. You see, I was about 13 years old, I was getting bullied in school, and I was growing up and I was living in a toxic and poor family. My parents would scream at each other and at us kids as well, every single day. So, as a young teen, my school life kinda sucked, and my family life kinda sucked as well. And this started bubbling inside of me and created very severe social anxiety and very severe depression. And I say severe because it manifested into suicidal thoughts, and I was very, very close from taking my own life as well at multiple points. Moment number 1 was kind of randomly, I don't really remember how, but I discovered videos on YouTube of random acts of kindness. People doing helping somebody across the street, or even running into a building that's on fire to save a dog or save a kid. And I remember watching these videos on my bed, on my phone, right, and crying my eyes out. Literally crying my eyes out because it showed me that there are good people out there in the world. And my brain was so negative, and it really felt like and really thought that all people are just bad people. But this gave me hope. So that was moment number 1. And moment number 2 was I picked up my phone once again and I Googled how to be happy. I Googled how to be happy, and that's what introduced me into the world of self-help and into the world of personal development, where now I had hope, I had direction, because I said, okay, I'm going to find and become one of these people who are doing all these random acts of kindness. And second, this is how I'm going to be able to get there, right? I got the tools from the personal development. Now moving on to the 1 pillar. This was a big factor as well, and I haven't really talked about this much, but I think it's very, very important. If I'm telling the whole story, I think it's very important to mention. I coincidentally almost became friends with 1 person in our school. And I did this kind of on purpose, but also it was a little bit of a lucky situation in this sense, because we lived somewhat close together, and we would walk the same distance to school, about 15 minutes of walk every morning. And that's really where we became mostly friends. Why it was so impactful for my mental health was because she was the popular girl, right? I was the bullied kid and she was the popular girl. However, me as the bullied kid, like, I was hiding it, right? Like, nobody really knew what was going on. I would always play it off like, oh, it's fun, you know, whatever. So from the outside, it seemed like I had a pretty okay life, or pretty good life. And for her, it was the same. However, inside, we were both hiding very, very severe pain. I was hiding my depression and from bullying and from my toxic home. And for her, she would get abused by her dad very badly and beaten. And as we became more friends, we started opening up, and we became a little bit comfortable with each other, and we started talking about what's happening in our lives, right? And this was the first time where I felt safe to express and to share about what was actually going on. And this was also the first time where I felt safe to just be myself, right? And we would take her dog out for a walk, and we would just play around in the fields and do crazy stuff and just have fun. So it was really the pillar that started to hold me up, when I had a friend where I could safely express myself and be completely myself, as well as talk about the pain and the suffering that made it kind of easier, right? So these 3 things together were really the first things that happened, and what started my journey of overcoming my social anxiety without therapy or medication. Now, moving on to the 3 steps, right? And this is where you guys can take lots and lots of value from this as well, because this is what I intentionally set out to do, right? That's why I call it 2 moments, 1 pillar, and 3 steps. The 3 steps were I'm going to say the 3 steps, and then I'm going to go deeper into them, right? The 3 steps were: 1, I took responsibility for my anxiety and for my shyness and for the problems in my life. 2nd, I started a confidence building habit. And 3, I started putting myself out there and trying to level myself up level by level when it came to social interactions and when it came to social anxiety and social skills. Step number 1, I took responsibility. You see, every time before, I was blaming the bullies, I was blaming my family, I was blaming the school, I was blaming everything else for all my problems. And this was the first time when I said, hold up, maybe there is a little bit of truth to it, right? Maybe I am too weak, maybe I am too shy. What can I do about it? And I took the power away from everything else outside, and I took the power back, and I said, what can I do? And that was a big, massive step that took a lot of mental energy to really make that decision, right? And how I solidified it is that I created my first journal. Something like this. It was really not a fancy book like this, right? But it was basically just a notepad, and on the front page, I literally wrote, today is the day when everything changes, and I'm going to do anything in my power to become happy and confident. And that was my main goal there, right? So I said, I'm going to do anything in my power. I took the responsibility for it. Step number 2, I started a confidence building habit. This for me was waking up at 5 a.m., at first 5:30, and then I moved it to 5 a.m. in the mornings before school to go for a run. I started calling it a confidence building habit because it was something physical, it was something tough, it was something challenging that started building up my physical strength, and my physical strength started transferring into mental and social strength as well, right? So by getting yourself a confidence building habit, something that's physical, something that's challenging, something that's going to make you feel stronger, will transfer into mental and social strength as well. And social strength is basically the opposite of social anxiety, right? Social confidence, social strength, whatever you want to call it. Step number 3, I started going out there and leveling myself up level by level, right? And specifically in the area of social skills, right? Being able to talk to people. So at first, I would just start chatting with people anonymously online and become more comfortable with asking questions and follow-up questions and how do I have a conversation, right? And once I was more comfortable with that, I started using my actual name, right? And I started using my actual photo, and then I started sending voice messages, and then I started sending video messages, and then I started doing phone calls, right? And this was, of course, spaced out a couple of weeks or a couple of months in between each other, but I was leveling up, right? And when I was already doing video calls and things like that, I was like, you know what? I think I'm ready. I've been on this journey for a while now. I think I'm ready to take the plunge and really challenge my social anxiety on a high level. And I decided that I'm going to introduce myself to girls on the bus on my way to school, right? And I stumbled a lot there, and eventually I did it, and I started leveling up more and joining groups and eventually doing free hugs and speaking on stages and things like this, right? So I leveled myself up level by level. Now, I think it's very important to mention here, because as I'm laying this out, it might seem pretty simple, it might seem pretty easy, it might seem pretty straightforward. Any of this wasn't easy. It was very difficult. I failed many times. I slipped back, and it took me years. It took me years, really, to grow myself out of it, and consistently, right? And to wrap this all up with the one principle that kept it all together and really allowed me to do all of this: feeding my mind with positive and constructive ideas. Constantly feeding my brain. I would learn more about social skills in a book or in a YouTube channel or in videos. I would listen to personal development. I would listen to motivational speeches. I would listen to inspirational stories of success, right? I would learn from people who used to have mental health problems and they said they overcame it, right? I would always, every single day, I would watch at least one video about self-improvement. Now, I say this last as one principle, because a lot of the times people get stuck in just consuming all of the content these days, and that's not enough. However, it's vital to keep feeding your brain with these positive and constructive ideas. All of these together, right? The 3 steps, the 1 principle, and the 1 pillar that I shared today. If you find yourself these, right? If you create 1 pillar for yourself, if you do these 3 steps, and if you adopt this 1 principle into your life, you will level up, you will overcome your mental health challenges, your social health will grow, your mental health will grow, your life will grow, and it can be completely different on the other side. Right? And then of course there's little tweaks and little extra things that you can add on or that you can change, and everybody's a little bit different, right? But really adapt this to your own life, right? Everything basically except the 2 moments that I shared, because you probably cannot recreate those, right? But if you are already here, you might have already had some of those moments, or this might be the changing moment, right? 5 years later, 6 years later, you could be sharing your story similar to me, and you would be, you know what? One of the moments that really impacted me, really changed my life, was watching this one video from this one guy who talked about this journey, and who talked about what he's done and what's helped him. And I decided that I'm going to get myself a confidence building habit. I decided that I'm going to take it into my own hands. I'm going to start journaling. I'm going to start reprogramming my brain by feeding it with positive and constructive ideas always. I'm going to step outside of my comfort zone and level myself up level by level and improve my social skills, improve my social health this way, right? This could be the moment. So if that's you, and if you want to take this seriously, okay, if you want to take this seriously, there's 2 things that you can do based on how committed you are. Number 1, start a journal, just like I did, the first step. Start a journal, write, I will do anything in my power to overcome this and to become happy in the future and to become confident. And number 2 is start getting yourself a confidence building habit, right? Commit to doing calisthenics, or commit to going to the gym, or commit to running, commit to something physical that you can do every single day, even if it's 15 push-ups a day in the beginning, and then you can expand from that, okay? And if you are really committed and you feel tired, you feel like you've tried things before, now, this is your chance. If you're watching this video, there is a chance that you can still have a free one-on-one session with me, one-on-one strategy session, where I can personally dig into your life and see how I could potentially help you, or how you can start growing really, really intensely. And so if you want to claim your session, just go to my Instagram, Make Friends with Ondra, and send me a message over there to claim your session. I'll see you there.